That's a nice intro. How was the expo in Denmark?
Is it already recording?
Yeah, we
It's
are
been recording for half an hour.
Oh, fuck.
Since half an hour. It was interesting. To be honest, I thought it was a little bit different. It was I felt like a little bit that I'm in the US because like you could pet like a lot of snakes and bearded dragons, and there were owls and stuff like that where you could take pictures
Man.
with. And I thought it's a little bit weird because I'm not used to it. Maybe it's just me. And what I also saw, at least when I was there were like a lot of kids with his parents just coming over to like get a photo with bearded dragon or something. Some people told me it was a very nice expo, so I don't have an idea but for me it was a little bit weird.
What do you mean by some people told you?
Yeah, on Instagram.
Mm.
Like,
Did you meet somebody over there?
no, I was like I was driving there with my bike for half an hour to get to the location, and I was in there like for 20 minutes, and then I rode back and was thinking, why did I even go? And that's what. But it was
Man.
okay to see. But you see that almost the same importers like in Ham and stuff like that. But what was actually pretty cool was there was this guy who sold like skulls and stuff like that. That was fun. He had like a Walrus skull for 500 euros.
Did you
That
buy
was
it?
pretty badass. No,
What? Varius?
no, Walrus.
Oh, walrus. Oh, walrus.
Yeah,
Walrus.
yeah,
Okay.
Walrus.
Wow, that's
yeah,
awesome.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked
It
insane.
was a male, like with giant teeth.
I think it was a young male. It was not that huge, but
Oh man,
what?
okay.
Maybe
yeah,
he found it underneath one of those rocks where they are falling off.
Yeah, I think so. I saw a video where guys like flying over these patches with a plane and just land on the beach and cutting off heads of their
What?
dead walruses. Yeah.
Really? Do they die
Yeah.
so easily? Does it frequently? Is it a thing?
Well, there's
Seems-
this really like, I don't want to say famous, but there's
Yeah,
I know this
I
video.
believe in Planet Earth or something, one of those series. You see that the ice is gone, so they need to climb up high, and then they try to get off the mountain. All of they tumble and fall and die. It's pretty rough to
Yeah.
see, but then I was like, well,
Yeah.
for your skulls, that's a nice source.
Yeah, for real.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe we should go there. Come on.
I don't even know if it's like, I think it's in Alaska or something. I don't think it's here.
Could be.
Yeah, but overall it was okay, but it's same as, I think Ham is better. Let's just say
Okay.
that.
Has any of the other boys has been there? Stefan, Ben? You ever been to the expo in Denmark?
No, it does sound like a little bit of an old school, like Exoknaag Houten show, but also these people selling skulls and dead butterflies and
Yeah, exactly.
owls.
Yeah, it was interesting to see, but it was, I think it's what you expect when you go as a non-reptile keeper to a reptile expo. Let's put it like this. Yeah,
Bummer.
that's it.
I was at Snake Day and it was so much fun, man.
Nice.
Did you buy another moonshine?
No.
Something
No
else?
Mangshans available.
Hmm.
It's hard
Yeah.
because now it feels like the Mangshan has opened up the option to keep more venomous snakes again, but as you guys know, I'm very busy, so the last thing I'm gonna do is
Yeah.
add a ton of other animals.
Get the
Yeah.
Pseudocarastus. Arachnoides.
Arachnoides, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not my style. It's a beautiful animal, but
Mm.
I don't need it.
Do you have the urge in you to buy like venomous again? Do you have this new fire? Or is it like just a little bit in your head?
Yeah, when I quit with the snakes, I was like always like, if I'm gonna back into it, it's gonna be one or two species.
Mm.
And now this one is here. I'm like, there's an option again,
Yeah.
And today I saw somebody offer Bornean Trimerosaurus. I was like,
Yeah.
that's perfect. So all of a sudden it opened up an option, for me. But I'm also
Yeah.
luckily I'm not always very mature, but on that part I'm like I can catch myself.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Pretty
saw
good
that
with deadly
the zoo
animals.
Zagreb just had some breeding success with the Mangshan. Are
Awesome.
they like frequently bred in private hands actually? Because I think in the zoo world it's only like 2 zoos who were successfully breeding them so far.
There's Thomas. I think French guys. I know of 6 to 10 people. There's probably more who have
Mm.
captive bred like regularly. Ah, dang it, he's stuck. But so it's not a lot. But it's
Yeah.
also not like. There's one guy who keeps his party outdoors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's if everybody's curious, go to a Facebook group about the Monkshans and you will find him. And he keeps them partly outdoors, which is
Man,
in a huge setup with a lot of ferns. It's absolutely insane. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
that's
Do you know if
crazy.
yours is captive bred?
Sorry?
Is your Mangshan captive bred? Do you know
Yes.
that? Oh, nice.
Hey, CB boys. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So how's it
And
going with you, Till?
I feel like I don't have a lot of new to tell. No,
Plants
just
growing?
plants growing. I got another Platytherium, even though I said I don't buy them anymore.
Yeah, the Wiki or something. What was it?
Vilinkii.
Vilinkii.
Nice. And I already got the Vilinkii bacteria. That's a dwarf cultivar, but I have this already longer. And since we hung up the Arcadia Jungle Dawn, all these slow growing fucking ferns are growing a little bit quicker.
Nice.
How do you know?
Really like that. I just realized everything is growing, and with this one, I saw that it changed a little bit the direction after getting the stronger lights. So it wasn't as wide. The new leaf was more going straight up, and yeah, changed the tempo and everything. So that's nice. And besides that, I'm just feeding, taking care of everything, but I don't think I have anything pretty new. Yeah.
I have to say your greenhouse looks amazing today.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I have to cut it back. At the top there are already like creeping plants on the upside down on the roof. So maybe I have to do some work soon. Thank you.
Keep it
Boy.
up.
Fresh as ever.
Just very quickly, I'm sorry for my connection. So if I pop in and out, there's nothing I can do about it anymore. I'm already have the hotspot running already, so it is
It's
what it
okay.
is.
Easy. No problem.
We were just doing the intro, so do you have any like exciting new things happening?
Always. But the question is, do you want to talk about it or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Give us a
But show the
quick
dog also.
overview.
Okay. Yeah. On the weekend, I'm gonna be giving a talk
Nice.
about automation for small mammal exhibits, automation and climate control. And it is a little bit related, or it builds upon the talk that I gave a couple weeks ago in Switzerland about bioactive terrarium setups and the benefits of natural keeping. So I try to use a little bit like the same base and just to expand it in some directions. And yes, so today it's a Wednesday. I'm gonna be giving the talk on Saturday. So yeah, I still have 1.5 days to prepare everything. That should be all right. So that's how it usually goes. Yeah, but I'm pretty excited about this. So it's the Small Mammal Club. It's a German club of private people who are interested in small mammals. I'm saying it because a listener reached out to me and asked me about this club. So just for everybody who's curious about it. We meet up like once in a year. or like twice in a year, but once in a year it's this big meeting where most of the people try to come, and that's also where decisions about the clubs are made. And yeah, so it's a 3-day event in the area of Berlin. We're gonna visit a couple of zoos, like 2-3 zoos, one private center, and yeah, I'm very hyped about it.
Nice.
And we're gonna be speaking about bamboo fucking rats. Yeah, there's a group of tiny bamboo rats available in the Netherlands, and they are gonna be sold to a country, to another country, because of the upcoming positive list. And we are thinking about splitting the group in our club, so that we can have like a shared project, and that nobody is alone with these animals that nobody wants. So we still have some contacts to share or whatever. I think it's maybe a cool opportunity, but for the moment I'm not decided. So we will see how it goes. And yeah, so in this talk that I gave in Switzerland, cohabitation was actually a little topic. And I want to get a little bit more deep into how I handled it, like in the talk that I gave. Because today, I don't know, maybe, fuck, I'm sorry, I spoiled it.
No, it's
Today,
perfect.
No, it's fine. This was a perfect
because today it's
transition.
the fucking topic,
Hey!
cohabitation.
Let's go. The
But
man.
let me ask one question first, Ben. When
Yeah.
you visit zoos, will you go to the Berlin Zoo on Saturday by any chance?
No, we're not gonna be in Berlin itself.
Ah, okay, because I want to check out the baby panda bear on
I'm
Saturday.
sorry, man. Yeah, okay, no.
Boring.
Damn.
Hello.
Overrated, man.
Ah, yeah, I'm a simple man. Don't judge me.
I see a panda and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
for real.
if that makes you happy, you know,
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Man, you know,
Yeah.
there's like these people in China working full time just to play with the panda babies.
Yeah.
And that's my
Yeah,
dream job.
maybe that's your career, man.
Yeah.
Do it.
There was even like a zoo in China displaying like dogs painted as pandas because they didn't have
Yeah,
any
I
real ones
saw that
available.
video.
That's crazy.
They also had like lion, and it was just a beige dog.
Come on.
Crazy.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but like you said, today it's all about cohabitation. Bam,
Yeah,
bam, bam,
but
bam. Hmm?
nice. But don't you two guys also want to tell what's going on at your places first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cliffhanger for the for
Yeah.
the listener.
Sorry for all the interruptions from my side, but everybody gets his chance today.
At my place, everything is okay. I had to make some very hard decisions over the last 2 weeks. I don't know if yeah. I decided to sell the Enialuides. The deal is not 100% done. That's why I don't want to talk about it, like how and to who is it going and stuff like that. But for me, I just decided I don't have the space at the moment to provide for them, and I actually don't feel like nice giving them smaller, like a small enclosure, and that's why I also are very aware of that who I'm going to sell them, because when I just gonna insert them on terroristic.com, some random guy will buy it and also set them up in a small enclosure. How Stefan said it last time. That's why I found somebody that builds like a huge enclosure and he's gonna take them. I made also like very good deal for him. Ben said it was too cheap, but for me it's more important that they are going to a big enclosure. That's like the main reason. Because otherwise it wouldn't make sense to sell them, you know. Yeah, and now I'm thinking about, because I really feel like I miss the hobby a lot. Like over the last 2 months, I really realized that I need this in my life. That it's like very hard to have nothing to take care of, like looking
Maybe,
into a
Flo,
planet tank. Yeah.
for the people who don't know what's going on, try to explain your situation again.
Yeah, I think it was like over the last few episodes, right? With
Just 2 sentences or something.
Yeah, I moved to a different country and I don't have space to build like a huge greenhouse again that I had before. That's basically the situation. I only have a small space now. Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking to go for another species. And also with the talk with Sam, I really had this little flame in me to push more towards the outwards keeping. And that's why I'm deciding maybe to get into Cohabitation because I have a balcony and I also would love to keep reptiles outdoors. And
What
Ben
is
and
a
I,
Cohabitation?
it's a small agame from Sri Lanka, the highlands of Sri Lanka. It's a
All
very,
right.
yeah, it's a very special habitat they're living in, like a
Napo
very
Mountains.
mountain, high humidity, high airflow. It's a bit of a challenge, but I think I can do that. And Ben and I work on a super nice enclosure together.
So much more nice new plans to explore for you.
Yeah, but it was a hard decision, to be honest. It was not easy. It was like, because I talked about it on the podcast, like I found my species and I found my niche and blah, 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 blah. But I realized that sometimes you have to just take a step back and realize that's maybe not something forever, as hard as it's like for me to give the decision. And also like be honest to yourself that it's not possible at the moment to keep them, at least how I want to keep them. Yeah. And also I learned that I don't have to be like such narrow-minded, like, yeah, I only want to keep this species forever, you know? Sometimes life is happening and then you don't have the opportunity anymore. But I feel kind of bad also because like over the last 2-3 years, I sold a lot of animals. Like first the the Hortulanus, then I sold them for the Corytophanes, then I found the Enyaloides, and now I'm selling the Enyaloides. So I'm feeling like kind of bad about it. But that's also like the struggle with only having like one setup. But yeah, I don't have to be too hard on myself, I think. But that's something that it's like a little hard also, because that's something I don't want to do. But at the moment, it's not possible for me. Otherwise,
Did
Did
you
you-
think about, sorry,
No, go
did you
ahead.
think about putting them on loan anywhere, keeping them and putting them in a,
no, because I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen in the next few years, if the situation gonna change or not, and I don't want to learn, and I don't want to have them like for X amount of years, month, I don't know, and that's why I also don't want to give it a loan, you know.
Would have been okay if they stayed longer.
yeah, but because like
No need to worry.
two episodes, 2 episodes back, we had this topic of animals on loan, and Stefan, you said that you have some, I think, turtles on loan
Yeah.
at your place. So I was just thinking maybe it's also an option to have like the first
Honestly,
right to pick the babies or something.
the animals that I have on loan are also going back to the keeper next year
Okay.
because I'm not made for that stuff, man.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like, it's not that I don't worry about my own animals, but I worry about those
Yeah.
animals.
And
I can
what are the
relate to that.
conditions of the loan? Can you give us some details?
Yeah, sure. We have
the
a
split of the
3 years
babies or-
agreement
Okay.
that I keep them for 3 years, and after the 3 years we reconsider. I have them. If they get sick, any medical costs are for me, but if they die, there is no consequence. I just keep the animals as proof that, of course, they have died, you know? And babies are 50-50. Yeah. But yeah, it's not for
And
me,
the
partly
feeding?
because of the animals, partly because just simple, not it doesn't is a great fit, but also partly like if my animals, I don't know, get an eye infection, whatever, it's easy to deal with. If they one of them got an eye infection, I was like, you know, total panic because they're not your animals. But yeah, all the other cost, electrics, feeding, whatever, is mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of don't enjoy them as much as if they were your own animals. That's what I can hear.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Kind
But
of,
it's not
maybe-
because of
There's a raspy sound on the. Is that mine or?
Yeah. I wanted
Yeah.
to say the same thing. It's yours sounds a little bit.
No, it's my internet, Ben.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh yeah,
Passing
I'm
it
not the
on.
only one. Not the only one fucking it up.
Passing on.
This
Yeah.
shit, man.
But I can partly relate, so it's no problem for me to keep the animals for you, Flo. But I'm,
Yeah.
of course, more worried about them right now, but because of my own animals. Because with your own animals, you're settled in, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, they're doing their stuff. And with your animal, I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to fuck this up for Flo. These are his precious little babies, and
Yeah.
they
It's
are
like going for a
quite
walk
rare.
with a random dog that you don't
Yeah.
know. You're
Yeah.
just stressed.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
walk with your own dog, you can just let it go off the leash. You know exactly what to expect, and it's all your
Yeah.
responsibility. You know, that's a great
Yeah.
example. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
kind
real.
of.
Yeah.
Man.
It doesn't count for Ben's dog because the day I had his dog for a day, it was the best fucking day of this year. It was like, this dog is so sweet.
Shots against Nina.
Yeah. Oh, no. Cut
But she
that
will
off.
never she will never know because our girlfriends don't listen to it, right? Hill?
Yeah, we had that discussion recently.
Yeah, that's
So-
such a bummer.
Would
Not
you
so
like them to
supportive
hear it?
as we thought.
Their
Would you like
own
them to be
haters
like
are
fans?
near. Nah,
Nina
it's all okay.
recently said that she once listened to the podcast while running. So I thought this was pretty interesting. So listening
running.
But
to
I think this podcast, maybe that's a good segue into how this podcast is going and also the development, maybe. But some people I know have also listened to it, and even people that are in the animal space. And even for them, if they're not like into it like as we are, it's so dang
Yeah.
nerdy, man.
yeah, what
It's
the
so
fuck are they
niche and
talking
nerdy, which I
about?
Yeah.
absolutely love. But it's
Yeah.
hard to listen to if you're not into it because you don't get a lot of like references and context, you know. We go
Yeah.
all in, you know. So
Yeah.
I can understand that for the girls who are like experience it from the outside, they're like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Sure,
Imagine
for
you're
sure.
not from Europe. What the fuck is this shitty place called Hamm? Why are they always
Yeah,
talking
why are they
about
also
it?
Yeah.
so yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I actually had
Shout
that
out to
talk
the
also
girls.
today, like with some people. They were like, "Oh, it's so niche, it's so
Yeah.
nerdy." That's like, I love it, but they are absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
It's cool.
I want to give
Yeah.
you some feedback, Flo.
Okay.
I think it's very good that you said that you felt like you should not narrow down so much, and you kind of reflected on yourself to be a little bit more open-minded, because in the discussions we had earlier, it was maybe a little bit too much into this like specializing. You know, we had this discussion, is it good to specialize or not? And after our recording, I was still thinking about the whole topic, and yeah, I'm thinking we should in German we say we should bake small breads.
Mhm.
You know, we should keep the church in the town. You know, I think it takes a lot to be a true specialist about something, and for the moment we're still on the come up, you know. So I think it's just humble to take a little bit of a step back and to say, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
You
I'm
are
still
still
open
young, my
for
friend.
That's
the left
life,
and
right?
right.
This is a great example. Like you said, life happens and you can
Yeah.
plan so much. There's also always a black swan. And
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, sorry for the people who don't get that. Please pick up the Black Swan book. It's a great book.
That's
but-
on my want to read list, actually.
Yeah, it's a good one about the black swans. But anyway, yeah, as Ben says, yeah. But it often happens, right? You do something in a certain way, and then you're not satisfied, and then you almost like overcorrect,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, this, and then you sort of find a
Yeah.
yeah.
But I feel
Yeah.
like just one quick thing, and after you can go first, Stefan. Now it's getting deep because I feel like that's one of the issues that I have with doing stuff, that I always want to do it like in a extreme
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of way.
Mm.
That's with running. For example, I started running. Did go for 40K run after like 1 month. fucked my foot up, so I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. Like it always happens, and that's something I should work on, or I'm working on at the moment. So because I need to have like this slowly growing
Yeah,
curve, you know
steady,
what I mean?
slow and steady.
Learning,
Yeah.
learning. But I think it's also good that I
It's a part of
realized it
growing
myself.
up, I think.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah.
I still love
Stefan.
what you do, Flo.
Off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't think less of you. Only
Yeah.
more.
That's good.
Thanks for pointing that out. Wanted
Yeah.
to say the same.
Yeah. All right, Stefan. How are you, man?
Yeah. In the basis, I'm pretty good, you know. I'm over the last months, I've been like full on into this hobby when it comes to this podcast and with the YouTube and with my own animals and plants and this and trips. Like every trip for me is like visiting people, you know. I never go on a trip just to be somewhere. And lately, I started the new study, new bachelor, part-time in combination with my work, which I'm having so much fun, man. I'm already looking at some master, educations. I don't know,
Mm.
a master degree after this one because I really enjoy it. I'm full on in the books, and I'm a bit more scheduled with physical stuff. So it's good to be out your head and inside your body a bit more and that stuff.
Yeah.
But it also means that I've been even more busy. So, you know, maybe for the listeners, that's also good too that we say this. That will also mean that I'm just so busy and so focused on also on other stuff that we are approaching 6 months of doing this. We're almost at half a year of content for this podcast,
Crazy.
which is
Which is kind of crazy.
insane,
Yeah.
right? It
Time's
went so
running.
quick,
Yeah.
like so fast.
Went very quick.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like half a year.
No, right. So this going to be roundtable number 5, but it's almost like 6 months of content for every week, and then we would have like a recap and see how we would move on. And for me, it's just not an option anymore to keep doing it in the way that I'm doing it now. So for the listeners, I'm going to do a step back a little bit. I'm not going to be in every episode anymore, and in the near future you will see me only on a few occasions because as you Flo live throw stuff at you and sometimes you gotta make a decision. And I made that one, which is a huge bummer because as I said to you guys before we started recording, like I think this can be really awesome. So I'm just giving the rudder to you 3 boys.
To boys.
Yeah. And I will slide in on occasion on stuff what you think that we need safer for this, but
yeah.
I'm not gonna be as profound anymore.
Not the main host anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No. But the same with the channel, like the Terrarium channel. On the one hand, I'm like, I want to keep continue it. On the other hand, I'm like, just need to focus on other stuff. So I definitely won't be online that much anymore.
Yeah. How serious are you about like this 10K end of the year?
You know, I've thought about that also around the same, but because to me it's all the same.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, it's like, I said that and I thought it was a legitimate goal. But then I look at how much time have I spent on actually achieving that goal and what happened. And then I'm like, well, I used a lot of time that I could have used for the channel also on this project, which I'm totally fine with. I don't mind it. I don't mean that in that manner, but how good of a chance did I give it the channel? But it does mean that I'm not gonna lay any more pressure on myself to do videos, so there's gonna be maybe a video every 2 weeks. Like when this podcast will drop, I will be in Keulen to do some videos. Cologne, Köln.
Köln.
Yeah. And and I all that stuff, but I'm not gonna like lay on the pressure. And I actually think with my own collection, I want to almost like disappear it a bit from the channel, and then when it's all like how I really want it, then just tinker without having to think about video angles or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that will be
Yeah,
good for my
makes total sense.
reconnection with what I love.
Yeah, same. That's why I think we all feel kind of the same way in that manner, because for me it's also like, man, the decision with the Enyaludis would be tough for me even without Instagram, but with Instagram it makes it even tougher. You know what I mean? Because you are
Yeah, because
in
there's
public
some
with it.
eyes on you. Yeah.
Yeah, and the same with your like collection doing stuff. You want to make it perfect in every video, and sometimes you just need to do like a day with working and not like putting the camera there and make it like a perfect shot. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it is, and as I said, I've been so like full on into it, and I also notice now that hey, it's nice to made a tattoo appointment. My PRs in the gym are going up. On the bike, the gains.
Yeah.
No, but it's nice to do that, and I definitely have learned due to this podcast. I believe we've said this before that I really enjoy the nerdy talks. That's something that I desperately need almost.
Yeah.
So that's I will have to find another way to do that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our the guests who are on, all of them love it, man. That's you often keep talking after the podcast because we all just sometimes you want to just full on nerd.
Go for it.
Yeah. So that will be it will feel like a bit of a loss almost, I think. So
yeah, we will see, but no pressure.
The
What do you have
listeners,
yeah, sorry, Ben.
I think everybody knows, but I just want to say it out loud in public. Stefan, you carried the most amount of workload. You appeared in the most recordings, and you did the editing and everything. So I appreciate very much the work that you did and all the progress that you made happen for the channel. So it's a great project. I'm very proud to still be a part of it. So yeah, I just publicly want to say thank you for everything. And I also have another idea.
Isn't there like a Gen Z way to do that?
Oh no, I can't.
Sorry, I don't want to.
This.
I can't. My hands are like
I'm
we're making
too
it hard
old.
for the listeners.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
and I have an idea for your channel, for the Terrarium channel actually. Because the idea comes from a homie of mine here from the city, who lives in my city, and he's running a motion design studio, like a 3D animation studio. And they are from time to time they have trainees at their place coming from the local university, and they use the trainees to teach them some stuff obviously, but also to involve them in some mostly like film projects. And I just looked up that in the University of Groningen, there's like the studies of film and contemporary audiovisual media. And maybe you can find a student who is interested in like doing the recording and editing for your channel, and that way he can build a portfolio for himself as well, And maybe you can register like a little business or something for your account, and that way you can invite some people over to build a relationship with for the production.
That's an awesome idea. Maybe I can
Because
even combine
students,
it with my new study.
They do it kind of for free, or for you can give a little money, Maybe that's really worth it at the end of, because personally I'm thinking about it as well, because I would love to start a YouTube channel, but I'm not gonna do it just by myself. For the moment, I just don't have the resources for that. So I'm thinking it can really work out for you.
That's a great idea, actually. Thank
Because
you.
it will also give you some new impulses, somebody who's really good at fucking editing and the visuals and stuff. And yeah.
I was for the people who are watching the YouTube, I was looking how to do the fingers, but I will ask my students. But something. That's it, man.
I
got it.
That's the age difference. That's the age difference.
I can do it. I can do it. Look at my
Yeah,
fingers.
you use, I believe, the middle finger.
Man.
Yeah.
Something
that's
like
why,
this.
That's why we do reptiles, I think.
Yeah, man.
But
we ain't cool enough to do that stuff. We just do reptiles.
Yeah.
A cool idea, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I like
Yeah.
it.
Damn.
Yeah.
One quick question. From who do you get the tattoo?
Miro.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We got to talk a little bit, and I don't know. We got to talk, and I because you guys also said that it was a really nice guy,
Yeah.
and I saw some of his work, and I always wanted a Salvadori skull, Varane Salvadori,
Oh
Yeah.
man.
because I can't keep the animal,
Badass.
and the skull is just so dang impressive, and it's been tattooed a few times, but it's okay. And I was like, "Have you ever done it?" He was like, "No, but I like to," and that's
Yeah.
so
Man.
next weekend. Yeah, next weekend. So when
Man.
I think when this video is going online, a few days later, I'm looking forward, man. It's been a while, but
Great
that
guy.
also triggers the whole. Oh, I also wanted this, and I needed this, and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Give the man a
Collector.
proper shout out. Come on.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, it's Raw Needles on Instagram. He does a bit
Murillo.
of a dark style, and I believe he did with Till. He did one, and
Yeah.
Till
Yes.
showed it to me, and it looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
And
Can I
For
see
me,
it
especially
too?
Also
for
has one.
So, can I see it? Can I see
Yeah,
it
I'm
again,
not.
please?
I'm not taking off
yeah,
my
lift up
trousers
your
on
leg,
the
man.
stream.
Lift up your leg.
Yeah.
And Flo
Visit
also
my
has two,
OnlyFans to see
Yeah,
that one.
too.
I believe. Yeah. So
Man, great guy, great work.
Yeah.
If you need a
Very-
tattoo appointment, go to him. He's the man for real.
yeah, he's in Dortmund now. So not too
Yeah.
far from me, like 3-hour drive. So yeah, why not? It's fun. It's
Yeah.
not a big tattoo. It's gonna be like a hand size somewhere on my leg. I have plenty of space on my leg. So
Salvadori badass. Not gonna lie.
yeah, right. So
All right. Yeah.
That's
Great.
great.
A lot of updates. Man, so it
Yeah.
could be almost like own episode.
Okay, done.
Yeah, that's enough for today, guys. But maybe a little add to that for our listeners. So you can guess with Stefan stepping a little bit back from the project. Also, some things will change on here. I think we will introduce that later in some further episodes, but I think we can already say that we also want to reduce our schedule a little bit. So from now on, we will upload every 2 weeks and not every week. So just for the listeners that you know, yeah.
Yeah. That's important maybe for the listeners. Yeah, that we do. But
Thought so.
for now, just give us time to really get into a workload that Stefan did and start with editing, and then maybe we can step it up. Yeah.
you're gonna do great, man. I think it will be awesome. I'm really curious how it is gonna be, like I said. So
Pretty
it will be fun.
interesting. Yeah, but now
Yeah.
to the main topic, I think, right?
So you did a question on Instagram, people to ask
Yes.
them about what topic we wanted to discuss today, and it was a few options. It was
Yeah.
building, it was cohabitation, it was
How the hobby changed us.
how the hell we changed us. Yeah,
And I think something, I don't even know. I think something else.
if we don't remember, it's not important.
Yeah,
and
but the people wanted cohabitation.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good topic. There's a lot of red flags and green flags and a lot of talk about. I feel like that's why I had like made a little mind map for myself how we're gonna approach it. Because for me, I feel like cohabitation is like a very nice thing. But first off, I want to ask you what's comes to your mind when you think about cohabitation, like in the reptile hobby?
If I think about cohabitation, I always think of these like weird or like interesting combinations you see at a lot of zoos. So I feel like in some parts of the hobbies, it's pretty like people don't like to see it when you cohabit animals together in the reptile hobby, but in zoos you see it a lot. So it's like, okay, big snakes, we have some pythons, boas, put them in the same thing, or like in a little reptile zoo in Germany, there is like this big enclosure with Burmese python, reticulated python, anaconda, and I also think boa constrictor. And that's something I always think about when I hear cohabitation, like interesting zoo combinations of animals in one enclosure. How
Yeah.
about you?
Me or Stefan or Ben?
You had the structure.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what's
no,
next.
Stefan, go for it. Man, you want to fuck me up.
Well, as I believe I said this in the podcast already before, but the more places I visit and the more I think about it, I'm pro cohabitation. But in general, when you think about cohabitation, it's I think a step too far for a lot of people to do it correctly. And I think we need to think about some things that we do. But in the basis, I'm pro cohabitation, and I don't mean that with maybe two male bearded dragons. It's probably not the smartest, but well thought out cohabitations. I'm actually slowly exploring to maybe do one or two myself. So yeah, in the basis, I'm pro.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
does it make me like Democratic or Republican? I don't know.
Pro
Ben,
life.
Pro life. What's on your
Yeah.
mind, Ben?
I have a little bit of a similar opinion as Stefan. So in general, I want to say that I think it is okay in some instances to do cohabitations, but I would like to say it with a can. It can be okay, and I think it is a very difficult topic, a really difficult topic, and a cohabitation that is well done. It's it's maybe not always intuitive. So till you spoke about some cohabitations that you see at zoos, for example, and you started speaking about the huge snakes, and the first thing that came to my mind was a cohabitation of like giant pythons and these web spiders that I saw in Zoo Cologne. What's it? Nephilia? It's these
Yeah,
spiders
Nephilia,
that make these.
yeah.
Yeah. So I saw these. It was like years and years ago when I was still like a teenager, and it really inspired me to think a little bit further instead of like cohabitating two species of lizards, maybe cohabitating lizards and fish, or
Yeah.
I don't know, insects and stuff. So I think it's a very broad subject. And of course, there are cohabitations that benefit the species, but it's the exception. And now it's up to the keeper to make the decision. Do I want to make a cohabitation? Yes or no? And if yes, then it's about finding these exceptions and then executing them well, which is also not easy. So in general, I'm pro cohabitating, but I will recommend not to do it for the general public. That's how I see it.
Good one.
Me
Yeah.
personally, I have a cohabitation running in my big setup, and it's doing very, very well. But yeah, I have had cohabitations that were not successful,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
for me,
can give an example about it later if
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah, we can definitely
Later.
go deep dive into it. Yeah. What for me comes on my mind is like Till said, like weird combinations in zoos. That was the first thing that came to my mind when it comes to like cohabitation, like different dart frogs mixed together, different snakes mixed together. And also I feel like that's what a lot of people see with cohabitation with reptiles and amphibians. That's why it's like also a kind of a red flag topic for a lot of people, because when you see it online, it's oftentimes very, very bad. Like when I did some research, I saw like different chameleons with snakes, bearded dragons with tropical other lizards and stuff like that. And I think that's why the whole cohabitation topic is like such a red flag in this hobby, because in the end of the day, a lot of when we start like what's cohabitation, it's two beings living unrelated beings living together in one environment, in this case in a terrarium. So cohabitation is also keeping your lizard together with isopods.
Yeah, that's
When you
something
break
I
it
wanted
down.
to ask if you would
I have a
count that
question.
as a cohabitation.
Yeah,
Two
but
individuals of different species, or is a cohabitation also two individuals of the same species?
for me,
Is that a
cohabitation
cohabitation?
is like mixing species.
Mhm.
That's
And
what's
for
on my
for
mind.
you or for the definition?
The definition was like two animals living together, like basically broken down. But I feel like people approach it in a kind of a wrong way, because when you think about it, it's always like two big animals living together. But you can, like Ben said, cohab like a lizard or a snake within the feeler, for example. And there's many options out there. That's why I want to ask you, do you have experience yourself with cohabitation in your own care? Till
You want to hear a successful one or
no,
less successful one?
you can share your story.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can go first.
So I was always hyped about like building the bioactive habitats, kind of. That was always my thing. So naturally, also the cohabitation was always a topic that was interesting to me. And when I got when I moved out of my parents' place at the age of 18, and when I got my first mammals, it was a tupaya, so the tree shrew. It's a species that I'm working with today as well.
Yeah.
I had them then it was like a little group of tupaya. I had them in like a huge aviary inside of my apartment, like a planted setup with substrate and everything, kind of bioactive as best as I could back in the day. So I decided, yeah, maybe. Oh no, then I had an infestation of isopods. It was isopods all over the place because the tree shrews, they just dropped the food and everything, and I had so much substrate that they were out of control. It was insane. Even one day, my neighbors complained to me that there were isopods running to their apartment, kind of. So I really had to do something about it. So I got some quail. And I was like convinced that it's a good idea to put the quail in the bottom to take care of the isopods and also, the cool Southeast Asian habitat and everything. But the cohabitation lasted for a couple seconds only. So right after putting the two quail in the setup, the tree shrew, it jumped on it and just killed the first one instantly. And the second one, I was not even successful in catching it out of there before it was caught. So that was like an example for a cohabitation that felt more like a enrichment feeding. So it can happen. And you have to really reflect on what animals you are working with. What's the prey size? What are the animals feeding on in nature? Are they triggered by something? Is there food aggression or territorial aggression maybe potentially involved? So yeah, that's why I'm saying it's challenging. Today I'm also keeping quail. I'm keeping also tupaya, keeping them separately, and everything's going well. Yeah. So that was a bad experience from my side.
That's why I'm also always amazed because the Randers Rensko in Denmark, if you want to visit Dear Flo, they have this Asian house, and they also have tupaya walking around freely in one of the greenhouses. And there's also a ton of birds and
Really?
and flying foxes. And I was like, man, that's maybe it's to control the population of some birds. I don't know. Everybody has the Nicobar pigeon, so maybe. But yeah, I was like, man, that's ballsy.
Interestingly, I have spoken to somebody who used to run like a huge greenhouse, and he had the tupaya running free, and they
Yeah.
killed all the birds, so they had to give them away. Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm fucking surprised because the tupaya, they are predators. Yeah, so yeah, you gotta be careful about what you do.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. Trevor, do you have any experience with cohabiting animals?
Yeah. Currently, I keep different fish species with my turtles. I have some turtles who are mostly like invertebrate feeders.
Mhm.
So with the big heads. And with those, I keep some fish, some rasbora, some whatever. I keep bororas. That's a different species of small rasbora with lanthanotus. I keep different species of snails with the lanthanotus. I am thinking about getting some gecko species to add in the enclosures of the tortoises because of all the spiders.
Mhm.
So mostly that. And in the past, I used to have like some lizard with Dendrobatidae combo. And at my work, we of course have different. I've looked it up. Conspecific means species of the same species together, and allospecific means different species. So for those, where we keep, we have allospecific groups. So that's also a thing. And in the pet store, I used to like combine guinea pigs with rabbits, which is not the best idea, but I did it. So that's about experience. And when I started, I used to keep like anoles with Bombina orientalis,
Yeah.
which now I'm like, what? But,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's my experience. And I visit a lot of zoos who do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny because with the Bombina and Anoles, I had the same. I had the same.
Classic
For
pet
me-
store
I think
animals,
it's a popular combination. Probably
Yeah,
also
yeah.
recommended by a couple of stores.
of
Yeah,
course.
you can put them together. Come on.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to buy at least 2 or 3 so they are not lonely.
You need some more chameleons in there.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any experience?
Yeah, a little. So with the so-called bioactive enclosures, I have the classic isopods together with my animals. I think the most successful one is with my tropical night lizard. There I have isopods. There are like classic worms or rain worms that are living in the ground and are also reproducing. And I think there's a little population of black soldier flies reproducing in there, and sometimes you see some other bugs I did put in there. So it's like with different insect types. So that is going pretty well. And to prevent that, what Ben just told with the isopods, I'm also thinking about adding a little predator for them. And Flo gave me the idea of adding like these dwarf geckos, Gonatodes albigularis, in the future. And I'm still considering, not 100% sure if I want
Which
to do
setup?
it
The
with the
night lizard setup?
Lepidophyma, the night
Yeah,
lizard,
okay.
yeah. Because I'm afraid the isopods will reproduce too fast and eat all the plants. But I'm still not 100% sure if I want to do it because I have the fear that the gonatodes have like a snackable size for the Lepidophyma, but I'm not sure if she would eat a gecko. How do you think about that?
I felt the teeth of a Lepidophyma, and that's definitely a predator.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
crazy, right?
Yeah,
Man,
it's amazing.
they
You won't
hurt
expect
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
But do they hunt like reptiles, or do you think they have such a strong bite because they maybe feed on snails or something in the wild? I
That
don't know.
was something I also thought about.
And they have this giant crusher type of head, maybe they are not really into catching lizards. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. The thing, yeah, also maybe interesting. I cohab like the Lepidophyma with the Enyaloides and Gonatodes
Yeah.
in the
And the Anolis
greenhouse. And but the Anoles were like not in there with the Enyaloides.
babies, the
No.
random babies that popped up from time to time.
No, I think it was just in the beginning one.
Okay.
But that was in a huge setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
and you have to say that your Lepidophyma is like a different subspecies, and your individual was much bigger than mine. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
but
lived on a huge display.
yeah, that's true. But like Lepidophyma is for real crazy. I was when Ryan was at my place the first time, we grabbed the Lepidophyma, she bit me and it was like fuck, and it also gave me like this heart-shaped bite.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. But actually what I know about the Smithy at least, that they are eating a lot of like rotting figs in the wild.
Oh,
So
yeah,
not
true.
especially like snails or something. But of course, my female ate everything that I gave her. So could
So
be.
to us, like cohabitation is just simply the combination of different species. And for instance, I don't know, a lizard with isopods. And I think a lot of people, when they talk about cohabitation, they talk about like two different species or reptiles, or a reptile with an amphibian, or stuff like
Yeah.
that. Oh, I remember I also used to keep like hermit crabs with my Trimerosaurus. That was an awesome
Oh
combination.
damn,
That's fucking cool,
dope,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but
I
maybe that's also
yeah.
the sorry, maybe that's also the point that people are approaching the topic from a false angle, you know? Because yeah,
Okay.
cohabitation in general is bad.
I want to do a cohabitation. Okay, I have a lizard. Which other lizard can I get?
Yeah.
But maybe they
So
should
like me right
think
now.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay, I get it.
also on like the Facebook groups and stuff like that, it's always like, oh,
Yeah.
don't go have this, but maybe you should see it from a different perspective. Because like in the end of the day, like I said, bioactive for me is also kind of cohabitation
Yeah.
in a different kind of way with like a different species.
You know
Like
what really
reptile.
made me pro cohabitation?
Yeah, tell me.
The thing that's standing behind me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the aquarium hobby, it's
Saltwater.
just normal. It's just
Yeah,
weird
it's
not
just
to have a
even part
cohabitation.
of it, even when it comes
Yeah.
to pests or
Yeah.
like algae or some animal you want to like reduce. It's you just find a balance and you add animals that go well together, and it's well thought out, of course. And of course, these are animals that in their habitats are found in much higher densities. You know, on the coral reefs, there's thousands of fish in one big piece of coral. But still, you know, you have animals that work together, that feed each other, that rely on each other when it comes to safety or whatever. And yeah, this really made me think about it, because I have some snails in the ground that have a purpose. I have snails in here that have a purpose. Hermit crabs, they eat the other algae. Or I have a crab who eats a specific thing. Or I have a fish who eats a specific of dish. You know, so it's all like a balance, and it's so awesome. It's much more alive than even naturalistic setup with growing plants and maybe an isopod or a springtail. It's like a desert.
Yeah, but
True.
the thing is, underwater, the density of life is just so much higher
Yeah.
that I think it is easier to successfully do cohabitation in an aquarium. And you also have to see that the relation of the size of your aquarium to the size of your fish is very different than the relation of your terrarium to the Lantanotus, for example, you know?
Absolutely.
And
You're totally right. Yeah.
maybe that's also what made it easy for you, Flo, to do like a successful crazy cohabitation in your huge greenhouse, because there was just so much space and so many niches for the animals to hide into that they were it was just so easy for them to get away from each other if they wanted to.
Yeah.
For real.
They were
Maybe
less impacted by the
yeah.
other animals. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know they had like their territory where they I
Kind
think
of, yeah.
Yeah, for real. Do you think like we're taking our animals away a big part of natural behavior without providing them with like another species in their enclosure?
To me, it's not on top of the list.
Yeah.
Like of all the, as I mentioned, I hate the word enrichment because it's yeah, we can go into that maybe one day, but it's definitely not on top of the list. But if you like have certain checks and there's something you want to like explore and it can add something, then I definitely think it's gonna be it. But it's definitely not on top of the list. I don't think you're a bad keeper if you
Yeah.
don't cohabitate, you know?
Yeah, for
I
real.
would
Definitely
like to
not.
ask you a question, Flo. So you are asking, is it maybe bad if we don't do it because we're taking away some behaviors? So I would like to ask you, how do you know if your cohabitation is successful? So how can you measure it as a keeper? Are there
Yeah,
any
it was
signs for a successful or less successful cohabitation?
it was honestly the question was not that you are not doing something right when you don't cohabitate. It was just like more of an open question to like think about, maybe. Because yeah, when you look at like the rainforest, for example, a tree gets cut down, or there's on this one epiphytic branch is like hundred of different species, and in some kind of way they interact
Interact.
with another, because otherwise they wouldn't be on that same branch, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's also because it's not that studied, because it's so high up in the trees. Maybe like a crab that lives in a bromeliad provides exactly the nutrients for this one dart frog who's also in the same bromeliad that we haven't figured out it, and that's why it a lot of times comes up with metabolic bone disease or bloating or something. You know, I was just curious actually. But for me, it's like also an extreme case with my enclosure. But what I found out, for example, with the Enyalioides and also with the Corytophanes, so with the cryptic species, when I had like smaller, like with the Corytophanes, I had a nose in the setup, and with the Enyalioides, I had the Gonatodes and also the Lepidophyma. The animals were much more relaxed because they saw like, oh, okay, the anoles are out under the basking lamp. So there's no threat. And when they run away, they were like, oh, okay, oh, damn, something is going on. I will hide behind a branch. And same with the Lepidophyma. They were also, when the Enyalioides were feeding and stuff like that, she came immediately out. Oh, something is going on. Let's check it out. What's that? Oh, is it feeding time or is it that? That's the experience that I made. That's like the different species kinda did a
I
little bit of
believe
a
we talked about this in the episode. I talked about like
Yeah.
glitterfish in the aquarium.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I like what you said, because apparently there's even plants who live in plants. I learned that with
Yeah.
jungle leaves, thanks to Flo, or thanks to Till with Alex with the
Yeah.
staghorns. So it can go pretty far. But yeah, if you
Yeah, I think this.
there's this saying like, if the wood goes silent, then it's when you need to run, right?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I think the big word for it is desensitization. Can you say that? Because animals that are easily stressed, get desensitized because there's something happening around them all the time, but at the end of the day, it's nothing bad. So there's maybe an owl running around your, I don't know, whatever, helmeted iguana, and so the iguana just realizes, okay, there's just some random lizard running around me all the time, and nothing happens. So yeah, I
Fine.
better adjust to it,
Yeah.
compared to like living in a very solitary, separate enclosure and never any like disturbances from the outside. And then once there's a human, then it's a huge stress. So I think that's a benefit, like this desensitization. With some animals, I've learned that in the zoos, sometimes behind the scenes, they leave a radio running, for example, just to get the animals used to sounds and everything that's some desensitized in some way. And cohabitation can play a role in that as well.
Yeah, for real. Maybe it's also would be super interesting with like a species that's like super shy, to put like another small lizard or something, to like a boulder kind of lizard together in the enclosure and see maybe if something changes. Like maybe, and that's also like a big point with the airflow. That's why I also really want to go deep in that topic with the new enclosure. I think that's also a stimulation for the animal that also makes them feel much safer because everything is moving and not only the animal itself is moving.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
But earlier I asked the question, how do you know if a cohabitation is successful? Maybe Stefan or Till, maybe you want to give your ideas about it. Because once you do the cohabitation, then you're just stuck there with a situation that you kind of built. So how do you know if it was a good decision to do it or not?
It's easier to tell if it was a bad decision, right? If someone gets eaten or brings
Yeah,
in
but
a new disease.
Instant
is it
feedback.
is it only bad if
No.
the animals die, and if
No,
they stay
that's not
alive,
what
then
I.
it was successful? You know,
That's not what I wanted to say, but makes it easier to see if something's really bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, come on.
Maybe I can jump onto it and then give it.
Go ahead.
I think for the cohabitation, it's also like on the list, like when is the right time. For me, like cohabitation is something that you should do when you are pretty aware of what you keep and how they act when they are not stressed out, when they are feeling good, when they are healthy. You should, as a beginner, you don't know the signs of an animal being stressed out, you know? As like when you have like years of experience. And I think that's an important point when, for example, an animal goes off feeding all of a sudden since you introduced a new species. That could be a sign. Maybe if the animal is having a different coloration, if it's hiding a lot, you have to be very careful and monitor it a lot in the beginning to really see what's going on. Oh, is there like territorial or behavior? Are they crossing each other paths, or is like the left side is for this, the right side is for this animal? That's all like keys that you be aware of and look out for if you cohab. At least that's what my experience is.
Yeah. Before, it's a great question, by the way, Ben. But before I want to answer that, my thought was indeed like maybe first discuss how you would approach cohabitation if you want to do it. And I think indeed knowing the animals that you have is step number one.
Yeah.
Being very well established with one species before
Yeah.
adding the next one.
Yeah. So you also notice the difference and can
The
react to
species
that.
itself, you are kind of
Yeah.
specialized in the species after a while. You know your individuals very well. Where do they hide usually? Where do they hide if they don't feel well? And how do they react to certain things and everything? Yeah. So if you want to do it, take your time. Yeah. Get to know your animals first.
That's true. Yeah, maybe we could talk onto how to approach maybe cohabitation. Because
Okay, so first know your individual animals and know them for a long time. Everything that Ben said, I'm not gonna regurgitate that. So that's definitely step number one. What's another important step for you, Till? If you would do a cohabitation, what's like one of the things you're looking for?
Act and know your habitat. So the new species that I want to introduce must fulfill the same needs that my enclosure provides. If I already have a running system and I want to add another species, this must align with each other, I think.
So it's then it has to be from like the specific same habitat. Like I found a new species that's found on the Mangshan Mountains. Like, dude, amazing, you know, it's something like that. Or can it be a species from like Indonesia and the middle of South America, which are like both on the equator, both living on the tree trunk. Like, where's your like in Dutch we say grens.
Where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because with fish, people look at parameters, temperature, pH, a niche in their habitat, but there are the same type of niches in South America as in Indonesia. Sometimes even with, bamboo is also found in South America. So
Yeah.
how far do you go?
Oh, that's hard. I think it's a personal decision, but for me, I wouldn't cohab like reptiles from different places of the world, but otherwise with, for example, isopods, I don't care where they come from as
Okay.
long as they do their job. So yeah, that's maybe but that would be my line. I think I wouldn't add vertebrate species from different continents together.
Why not?
Maybe it's just my inner monk. So like I also have problems mixing up plants too much. I really can't tell. It's more, it doesn't feel right for me, but I don't have like a scientific answer to this. But
But
it's
what
just for
about
me personally.
lugubrious geckos in all of your setups? For the big snakes, for example, do you really care?
Yeah, but lugubrious is also like
Invasive.
distributed worldwide right now. So yeah, it feels different than like adding a Mangshan viper to my unknown setup or something like this.
Yeah. For me,
Maybe
it's
you
the
can do
same.
a Florida bioto.
Yeah.
Florida man biotype.
Everything.
Man, everything in there. Yeah, maybe that's how we can call like the weird cohabitations.
Florida.
Yeah.
The
Florida
Florida
swamp.
setup.
Me, for example, I'm keeping, I'm taking care of a cohabitation which does not necessarily come from the same habitat. So it's the loris and the domestic quail. So it's the birds on the ground, and they are fucking domestic animals. So they are found all over the world, but they are not really in the wild. So it's
But
not
for
a
me,
true
this feels
habitat.
like with the lugubrious. In my
Yeah,
head,
yeah,
this
kind of, right?
this is okay because yeah, like these could meet also in Vietnam.
Yeah, okay, kind of. Yeah, and I have to say that I'm very, very happy about the cohabitation that is running here at my place because the quail, they do really serve a job. They control the isopod population because otherwise it will just get out of control. And the quail are exclusively on the ground. They don't know how to fly, and the loris always up in the top of the enclosure, so they never ever meet. And the one is active in the daytime, the other in the nighttime. Both very quiet, very silent animals, so they don't really interfere with each other in any way. So on that side, it's a very good cohabitation, in my opinion. But there's one big topic that needs to be spoken about, in my opinion, when it comes to how to prepare for a cohabitation. It's the topic of hygiene and quarantine, in my opinion. We didn't even mention it in any way yet. And if I want to prepare for a cohabitation, I definitely need to prepare how to get. Uh, so, what do
Go
you
ahead.
want to
Yeah, I'm
say?
counting
Yeah.
with the porn talks and things.
Okay, yeah. So you definitely need to prepare how to make sure everybody is healthy from front to back before introducing the animals to each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good one. Great one. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
difficult.
especially with animals from the same classes, I want to say. Reptiles with reptiles, birds with birds, mammals with mammals. Especially there, it's more important because the parasites are they like to be specific to a host. Yeah, so worms that are found in one lizard can probably be found in another lizard, but not in mammals, for example. Sorry for the bad explanation, but yeah, so if you combine animals from the same classes, then you need to be very careful about doing examination of feces, for example, and also like exoparasites. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need
really
to set up a quarantine. And also you need to be prepared to separate the animals at any given time. So you need to have an empty tank running whenever.
Yeah.
So that's something to
Good
think
point.
about.
For sure, yeah. I also have on the list like size of the enclosure. Depends, of course, what you have in there, and also how to set up the enclosure.
What
That was
about size?
something. Oh, sorry.
What's with the size?
Yeah, like that you have a spacious enclosure, depending on the species.
Yeah.
Like,
And
Give me some more infos.
yeah, let me make
If
my
I
point first.
okay, if I keep one species that needs 1 cubic meter and another species of that also needs 1 cubic meter, just to make it very easy. Do I then need to have a setup that is at least 2 cubic meters or at least 1.5? Or also is it still 1? Or how does it work then with the size?
Yeah,
Give me
that's why I
some of
also
the
have the
ideas.
point of like setup of an enclosure.
Yeah.
That's why you could have like an enclosure your size, and if you only have one branch, then you have a big
Yeah,
setup with
okay.
one
Yeah,
branch.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
for real,
Yeah, okay, true. Yeah,
that's the
it's true.
basic system. Because if you
Yeah,
have
it's
like
true.
a small setup, but with like hundreds of hiding places, it's at least better than like a big setup with one hiding place. And that's why it
For sure.
goes kind of hand in hand for me. And that's why I also said like size appropriate to the size of the animal that you
Size
keep.
matters. Size matters.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I like what Ben also said, that he has sort of like layers in his setup. There are obvious layers, and the species, if they don't want to, they don't have to interact with each other. Maybe it is good to know that if you have like a night active animal with a day active animal, you gotta make sure that they have space to get away from each other when they are resting, because otherwise the day active animal will disturb the night active animal, or vice versa. Now, how much,
And
I don't know
For
how
sure.
much of like how much coffee they need in the morning, but I'm not one to interact with in the morning, so somebody waking me up won't help. I don't know if your lugubrious is like, dude, gotta be up at.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. But also with the
that's
size, it's for me, it was like thinking about this topic was like, okay, if you only have like a small amount of space, for example, now that I have only a small amount of space, I wouldn't consider like cohabitation, because for me personally, it's something that I only would do if I have like a bigger enclosure that I can make sure of that the animals can really get their different territories and have enough space to avoid each other. That's why I also say it's maybe also if we're talking about vertebrate cohabitation, it's also more for more experienced people, and also when you have more space and time to really look after it and provide with
Question.
enough space.
Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting you, but
Yeah.
imagine you have a choice. 2 setups. Sorry, there was a lot of 2 setups of a cubic meter with 2 different species kept separate from the same habitat, different layer, different food, different way of reproducing, whatever. Or 2 cubic meter setup with the 2 species together. What would you do?
I would go for
Damn.
option 3. I would connect the setups with like tunnels, but make it possible to divide everything whenever. Because that way the animals can use the most amount of space. If it's species that are compatible, you have all these positive effects of desensitization, for example. Also, it's more of a pleasure to look at. You see behaviors that you otherwise would not see. But if you have the feeling that something is not going perfectly well, you just close the slider and you're done. So that's why I would keep the enclosures connected but separate.
That's
And
creative
that's also how I
answer.
do it at my place. I have the Tupaya setup, for example, and the Loris setup. It's basically one big, but it's separated. And if I wanted to, I could connect them,
Yeah.
do you plan to do that?
No.
No. Okay.
For me, I think it would depend on the species, because if it would be like a species, both species occupy the same niches, I wouldn't do it.
You can choose the species.
Yeah, okay, then I would choose the cohabitation.
But let's take my case with the night lizard as an example, because
Yeah.
we have now a not huge enclosure. It's like 120, 60, 60 with a small tropical night lizard. that's active mostly during the night, and we could add these gecko species that's mostly active through the day. We can add more hide places that the night lizard couldn't reach, but it's just 120, 60, 60. Would you add the Gonatodes?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please
because it's
send
a
me
fucking
money to
gecko, come
fulfill
on.
this idea.
Albicularis is not a crazy expensive species. It's
Yeah.
like 50 euros a
Yeah.
pair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, you're
Sponsor
feeding
Come on,
that.
that's what
snakes
you
to your
spend
snakes.
on that's what you spend on like the pots for your plants.
Hello? They don't even have pots.
Oh,
They are
that's
stupid wood. Yeah, but it's not about the money, friends. It's about the ethics.
Mhm,
Do you
mhm.
think it's a good
Yeah.
idea or not?
I'd
Yeah.
do it because I
Yeah,
feel like
okay.
it's gonna work out most likely. And this tank is more than enough spacious to give the species specific niches to get away from each other very, very well. And also, the night lizard is so terrestrial kind of that it will not interfere so much with the geckos, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you should maybe put some cork or stuff below the ceiling,
Yeah,
you know, so you have like a
Nice.
hiding spaces that are
Good idea.
totally not available to the night lizard.
I think that was a point Flo was trying to make. So what do you make out of your space? So
Yeah.
give them some opportunities to hide where the other potential predator couldn't even go while they are sleeping or something like this.
Yeah. It's also like we talked about it, right? With the
Yeah.
Liptophinae, the Gonatodes. Because I know your enclosure, I know it's gonna work, but I also feel like it needs a little bit more, maybe a little bit
Climbing.
more branches and a bit more one bigger plant or something that
Or the geckos.
yeah. But because like at the moment, for the listeners, you have to picture the tank. It's like
Beautiful.
yeah, it's beautiful. No, it's like a very nice back wall. It's almost like a overhanging
Riverbed
riverbed, yeah.
edge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's still a lot of free space. It's like
Yeah.
perfect for the Lepidophyna because she has like her cork tube, the back wall, and the water area and all the ground area. But between the back wall and the water area, there's like a lot of free space, the 3D space that you can also use.
Yeah, true. Maybe you have to come over and help me out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
next hum is coming. Yeah.
I want to
try
ask a
that.
question. I want to ask a question that I think everybody who is thinking about cohabitation should ask himself or themselves. It is, why do I want to do it? Is it because I want to have something that is more interesting in my space? Is it like kind of a selfish reason at the end of the day? Or do you want to do it because you feel like you're doing something better for the animal or the habitat that you're building? And you don't need to answer the question right now. But I think it is important to understand yourself. Why do I am even thinking about cohabitating, and why is it so interesting to me? Yeah, to understand yourself. Yeah, because back in the day, I was mostly interested in the cohabitations because I don't know, I felt like it was exciting to look at. But
Yeah, or
is
more
it
animals in the same space.
Is it the right motive? Yeah, because all of our resources are kind of limited. It's money, time, space, and everything. And sometimes it feels like cohabitation is like a cheat code to using the same amount of resources, but to get a bigger outcome. But I'm not sure if it's really true because it then takes a lot more attention to work with the setup to keep everything right, just to observe, and maybe you can save some space, the resource one space, but you on the other hand lose your time because your attention has to go up. That's something to consider as well, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. So
why do you want to do the cohabitation too? No, you don't have to
Okay.
answer, but
Yeah, it's okay.
maybe you have a
okay.
good one. I don't know.
Let's do it.
It's a pest control for you.
How's the structure
Yeah.
going, Flo? Sorry.
I think
happy
we
we're
need to
doing the
talk about it
remote
again.
meeting.
I think we need to talk about it again.
Part 2 is coming.
We're
Yeah.
just going for it now.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
We'll go to the toilet real quick.
Should we take a
But
break or
somebody-
should I continue?
No, go ahead, Till.
No, go
Tell
ahead.
us, why do you want Gonatodes?
Oh, without distraction.
We saw them at Keulen,
Yeah.
Cologne, Köln,
Köln.
Okay.
Köln, zoo, and they were actually bigger as I expected them to be. I never seen
Same
them.
here.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
pretty. The
thought
male was so
they-
pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think
What?
about this? Stefan, do you know Stefan Plein? Oh no, I
No.
think you don't know him, but when we met in Hamm, it was the guy who was standing right next to me, and I kind of
Yeah,
introduced.
yeah.
other. And this guy, it's a very interesting guy. It's a German guy, mid-age, I want to say. And back in the years back, he did some expeditions like in South America and stuff. And
yeah.
they described a new species of gecko. And it is also named after him and his partner. It's
Oh,
like
that's
the
awesome.
random
Yeah.
geckos genus, and then Plinerum or something. And it's his name in the species name. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful, very beautiful gecko from South America. I think it is even the biggest South American gecko species. It's a pretty huge one, like 20 something centimeters.
Hmm.
Pretty light color, and then dots like a Dalmatina dog, black dots. And Flo, he was thinking about getting some of these geckos like
I
a year
remember.
back or something. Yeah, Flo, you remember the Stefan Planorum geckos, right?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking maybe it's the right species for you too, because they also come from South America.
Ah.
They are pretty fucking interesting,
Is he
beautiful,
breeding
big.
them? Yeah, but I need Central America.
In what enclosure?
The
Lepidophyma.
Lepidophyma.
No, they're way too big.
Yeah.
They eat the
They are
Lepidophyma,
very
maybe.
big. They are
Yeah, but
very
you can,
big.
I mean, raising a juvenile and then
Yeah,
it's
but
time
I-
for an upgrade then.
Boys, this is getting out of hand.
No, I feel like it's also like they're
Think in
almost
solutions, man. Think in solutions.
yeah. They're almost like a small Tokay size. Like a small full-grown Tokay.
Yeah,
Do you
but
know
wasn't
if-
it like the question if the Gonatodes is maybe too small? So I was just thinking.
Yeah, but
I actually
Steph-
think that's better.
Yeah, but Stefan and I, so this Stefan and I saw the Gonatodes at Cologne Zoo, and they were a bit bigger than we both expected them to be, but beautiful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know if the other Stefan is breeding them too?
Yeah.
Can you give him can you give me his number? Maybe I can text him because
But do you mean
Maybe
a
it is
Gonatodes?
good to if you're gonna combine animals, then you almost want like the other species. If it's even if it's another vertebrate or invertebrate, you want them to be either. Yeah, you don't want them to be so big that your other animal is like causing stress, like oh, it's a huge predator. But you also don't want them to be like prey size.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like with my Lantanotus, the Bororas works because they are not worth it to chase. If I will put in the bigger fish, like 5, 6, 7 centimeters, I'm 100% certain that they will catch
Yeah.
those and chomp on them.
Yeah.
In my eyes, it's a matter of priorities. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking if you do a cohabitation, you should pick the animals in such a way so that the species or the animals, which is my priority, is gonna make it out alive in case of a fight to death.
yeah,
but
You know?
that's true.
Maybe that's the way to think about it.
Dear listeners, you can now bet money who survives, Lepidophyma or Gonatodes.
One of
Yeah.
those fake, I'm saving my gecko video from this
Yeah.
monstrous Lepidophyma.
This
Yeah.
would be a cool YouTube channel.
But in the end of the day, it also depends on the individual, you know?
Yeah.
Could be that your Lepidophyma is not happy with it, and because the Gonatodes, they were also like under corkbark on the ground with the Lepidophymas,
What?
so nothing there. But maybe it could be that yours is not happy with it. That's, for example, what happened to me with one of the Grahamis.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
the
I
first male
remember.
that I had was like gone after a day,
Yeah.
but didn't like before that. I had Anolis sagrai for 2 months, I think.
Ah, I kept these for a
Yeah,
while
yeah,
at my
you also
place for
kept them
you.
for me.
Hey, yeah, I kept
Oh,
more
yeah.
lizards for Flo at my place than for myself.
Yeah, but like I said, the first Grahami male was like gone after 2 days.
That's true.
But I didn't actually know if was get fed or something, but if he was get eaten. But the second one was totally fine.
Strange.
Yeah. So I think it's also an individual thing. When you also know
Yeah.
your individual is like more, I don't want to use aggressive, but you know what I mean? Like a
Food
little bit
aggressive.
more food responsive, yeah.
Difficult because towards me, the night lizard is very shy, so likes to flee when she recognizes me. But I don't
Yeah.
know how she will react to a similar sized lizard
Mhm.
because I think for her, I'm much more of a danger than little lizard.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like also with a lot of dart frog people, I feel like have problems with like cohabiting species. Like that's what my
Yeah, but I think that's also because a lot of paludariums are like wet,
yeah.
and many animals don't do great in wet
Yeah.
conditions.
Yeah. That's true.
Like your Velsuma, I see so much Velsuma's kept
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Dendrobates. And sometimes it
Yeah.
works, and that's in the big setups that are pretty dry at the top. But in the
Yeah.
smaller setups, they all perish. They all
Yeah, that's
go.
true. For real. Yeah, but what, for example, like cohabs that I don't like, maybe we can also talk about that, is like, especially with like, for example, dart frogs, like mixing together different subspecies or color
Because of
morphing,
the
you know?
chance of
Yeah.
hybridization, hybrid.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Everybody knows what you mean.
Yeah.
here in the zoo,
Hybridisatie.
yeah, here in the zoo in Copenhagen, it was like Tinctorius, Azureus, then I think 5 different Tinctorius species, then Fibatus bicolor, Terribilis, Vitatus, everything in the same enclosure, and the males were all fighting each other, and it was like, and it was way too overpopulated as well, this enclosure, and that's something I don't really like. And also sometimes the crazy stuff that you see, like I said, like a bearded dragon with like a chameleon.
Yeah.
Thing that you really have to be careful about when cohabitating very random species kind of is also making the food only available to the specific species, you know? If the one feeds on a diet which is very high in protein and low in fat, and the other one is the other way around, or maybe the one eats some fruit and the other one doesn't. The one eats only vegetables, the other one likes fruit or something. That can be a huge issue. And that's also an issue that the zoos, I know, are fighting with quite a lot, you know, to make sure everybody eats its own food, kind of. And that's why and that's why sometimes also the zoo exhibits have, like, behind the scenes, they have feeding chambers where they can separate the species. Because yeah, especially in a mammal world, I know that there are a lot of animals that are very sensitive with the food that they are eating, and most animals like to eat sugar and lots of fruit. And sometimes you can see cohabitations of like fruit bats with some African rodent, for example. And the
And then you
rodents
get like
obviously,
diabetes with
yeah,
the
yeah,
rodents. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And that's
Crazy.
also a
Yeah.
huge issue. Yeah. Yeah, so in the introduction of our today's podcast, I said that I gave this talk in a zoo and also prepared like a chapter about cohabitation. And once I made a walk through the zoo, then I saw all the interesting cohabitations that they had running. Like they had a big greenhouse with wild animals all over the place, but also like Dracena guayensis in a giant paludarium with some primates actually. Cebuella pygmea,
Okay.
these tiny marmoset monkeys, and Saguinus imperator, a little bit bigger tamarin monkey, which is incredible in my eyes. But then I realized that I do not feel qualified to speak about cohabitation in like such a setting. So during my talk, I just kind of skipped the whole topic and just said like in 2-3 sentences, I said, "You are doing your job great. I have no idea how you handle everything, but obviously it's working out. So I don't feel qualified in any way to tell you what to do and what not to do. So just keep going." And I think at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the keeper himself, themselves. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe also, how do you feel about it? Like to draw a conclusion about this cohabitation topic, do you feel like there's some strong advices that you can give to people, or do you have strong opinion about it, or do you feel very open about it and everybody can do whatever he feels like is right, or what's your conclusion?
Flo.
Man, I feel like give me some time to think about it. I want to make a good answer.
Are there any, maybe before we get into that, are there any like cohabitations you guys have seen that you were like, oh wow?
Mm,
And then maybe in the private sector, but also in the zoological sector.
think about it.
For me, it's, for example, sulcata tortoises in an outdoor enclosure with meerkats, suricata,
Yeah, I've seen that a few.
the
few
mongooses.
more. Yeah.
That's something that is really interesting in my eyes because it's like a true carnivore with a very slow herbivore. It's very interesting. Yeah. So
What I also seen in some places is like the chondros together with
Frogs.
lacking of the with frogs. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty interesting that they don't like prey on them. They're like at the Wilhelma, they're chilling always on top of them. Like the
Yeah,
frogs on top of
Burgers
them.
has it.
Yeah.
Prague has it. There are a few actually who have that combo. That's a great one.
Yeah.
We also saw that together in the reptile zoo flow.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
They also have
yeah.
like tortoises together with mongooses, right?
I'm not sure. It could be. But they also have one that I was thinking of right now was Boiga dendrophila together with Poecilotheria. So snake together with spiders. Yeah.
Quite a reactive spider also.
And quite a reactive snake.
Potent
also.
one.
Yeah.
You aren't allowed to keep them, right?
Yeah, both. No
Oh.
Boiga, no Poecilotheria for me.
Damn.
Damn.
Spicy setup.
God forbid men have hobbies. Nah, just kidding.
Yeah, I think there were some. I saw some like super wild stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. But
What I
like
really
the-
like. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah.
I really sometimes appreciate these huge Australian outback cohabitations like frilled lizards, bearded dragons, tiliqua skinks, and what else? Oh, one time I've seen this cohabitation in an outdoor enclosure in Australia with Varanus mertensi even, which was pretty fucking insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think the Berlin Zoo and Aquarium has some really nice cohabitations when it comes to like herpetofauna. Like they have pyxis, the tiny tortoises, the Malagasy tortoises, Madagascan tortoises with Philsima standingi, standingii. I don't know what's the English. Yeah, standingi. And They also have indeed the Australian cohabitation in a bit too small of a setup, in my opinion. They also have the radiated tortoises with some oblures. Those lizards are fun, man.
What is that? Oblurus.
Oblurus,
What?
that's like the Madagascan Scaloporus species.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like this size and some really nice colors. Also the bobbing behaviors. And it's so fun because that was a species that's like imported heavily and was almost treated like one of those cheap throwaway species. And then you see them in a big setup and behaving as they should. Oh, they're so cool in that manner. So yeah, those did a few that I really enjoyed.
And also there are these Northern American lizards, like these little iguana lizards.
Yeah. Scalopole species and yeah.
And the blue, I have no idea about the scientific names, I'm sorry, but there are a lot of different species that can
with the
be kept in
helodermas together.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
true.
Yeah.
In
And
the Burgerse, they have the heloderma with Crotalus ruber. That's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
like
That's
that's crazy.
Yeah.
kind of
And
odd.
sometimes even with the toads, right?
Yeah.
In Zoo Leipzig, they have them with the toads also, yeah. Which is crazy.
And also a lot of the European outdoor kept stuff
Yeah.
like Viperaberus together with Bufo or something like that.
Yeah.
Also a lot
The
of
Studo
places.
with Lacerta,
Yeah.
Skelterpulsic.
Yeah.
I know one guy who had Aspis, Vipera aspis, Natrix maura, and Lacerta bilineata, which was quite an odd combo, but it worked for years. But then, outdoor you have so much space.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
I feel maybe it's also because with some enclosures you see like these cohabitations a lot, like we said, like the North American, the European outdoors. Maybe because it's like more common, the people are okay, that's no problem. But because maybe for a Southeast Asian setup, it's not that common. That's why a lot of people think, oh, it's not that.
Yeah.
Because Tokis are also like in a lot of setups mixed together.
I think they're in there as like pest control.
Yeah, pest controls. Yeah. But also like a Toki as a pest control, like it's nice, but
Against
Toki can also
cockroaches.
Toki can also get pretty big.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Have you ever been bitten by a Toki?
Nope.
Oh man,
One
you should
time.
do it, man.
Also
They're not
fun,
that
right?
bad. They're you know.
Yeah,
I
Nico
have
the female
been,
is
and I have to
worse.
say it was terrible. It didn't let go. And it was an intentional bite, like in the outside of the hand here,
Yeah.
which I feel is a good place to be bitten because it's
Yeah.
a little bit squishy. I even did a bite test with a Varanus exanthematicus at this
Whoa.
spot.
Why?
Yeah, so but the Toki was at least as bad as the Varanus, but it was not a
That's
big one. The Varanus, okay, but the Toki didn't let go. It was not that pleasant.
Sorry, off
Yeah.
topic,
Surprising.
but I just
But interesting.
Do we have it?
Yeah, maybe like
For
in the
today?
end of
I
the
fucking need to
day.
go to the toilet.
Yeah, go.
I'm just thinking if I should stay strong for another couple minutes or if I just let it go.
let it go. Let it
Okay,
go.
I will be right back, okay?
Okay.
Man, we need to do some musically episode.
Yeah. Waiting for that one.
Maybe as like some final like to summarize it for ourselves or for the listener. Till, how would you summarize your ideas, and would you if you had two bodies and there was a brain in one body and you transplanted the brain to the other body, is that a brain transplant or a body transplant?
What the heck?
It's a philosophical question. I don't know what's hard about it. So you move the
this a matter
brain
of perspective? From the perspective of me, my brain, it's a body transition, and from the perspective of the body, it's a brain transition.
Beautiful answer. Yeah.
But does the body have a perspective?
at least an outside
Apparently,
perspective.
Till thinks that his like conscience and what makes Till is solely in his brain.
Yeah.
And this fleshy, pound of flesh is just what he like operates until he passes.
This is just like my, I don't know.
Yeah, that could be.
But
I heard there were
kinda the
also
same.
brain cells, like cells similar to brain cells found on the heart.
oh, really?
Interesting. Medical podcast.
I don't think this is very medical. But more.
Let's
cultural
rename
philosophical.
everything.
Okay. So we gave some ideas on how to, if you want to do a cohabitation, we
Range
don't
and
directly
also-
advise it, although we all think that it can benefit an animal. We did not really talk about if we think it can actually benefit the animal to keep them together, because
Okay.
Ben had the great question of what is the reason you want to do this, like to start with. And for me, a reason if I would do a cohabitation, it is because I think it can add a tiny bit, not a big bit, but a tiny bit. It's really interesting for me, but I think you can also add a tiny bit in like completing a great display that replicates some of their natural range and interactions and that. And I wouldn't definitely do like species that look very much similar. Like keeping two different turtle species together that look very similar to each other there can be conflict, even though they're two different species. But if you have two species that are very different, then then it's often already a bit easier. So I would look at that stuff. But I think for some species, I would like to do some cohabitations because it either doesn't impact them and for pest control then, or because I think it's a great way to have something happening in an enclosure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
think
definitely
it's
not for
something to do.
everybody.
I think you also have to be like kind of self-aware what you are able to
Mm.
provide and are able to, what's your skill set, let's call it like that, if you are really able to do a cohabitation. If you
And be okay with being wrong. That,
Yeah.
if you try stuff out, you're gonna make a mistake.
yeah,
And of course, we talk about the lives of animals, so you have to, but it's, it's better to separate them and own up to, oh, that doesn't work, than to be, how do I say this? Than to ignore the problem you have created because of your ego.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So for all the listeners, for everybody who has an idea about some cohabitations, what do they do? Do they go on the Facebook groups? What's the next step? If you have like an idea, who do you speak to?
To
Are
God.
your DMs
You need to
open?
speak to
Sure.
God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
God is the right path.
Yeah.
And after, in the end of the day, it comes down to research. I feel like maybe approach to approach other keepers that have like also experience with cohabitation. Maybe even reach out to a zoo or something, or ask a zookeeper about it, and yeah, maybe see if you can read some about the animal that you want to cohabitate, and you also need to try it out, like when it really comes down to the end of the day. How would you do it, Ben?
I think that speak to people. It's definitely true. Zoos is a good place to start to get contacts, like the zookeepers and stuff. You can find a lot of those guys like online. But I was more thinking about some Facebook groups, and there's this one group. I think it's called Advancing Herpetoculture.
I believe that's one. Yeah.
Advancing Herpetoculture Husbandry or something like that. Fucking hell, I don't remember the name exactly, but it's I think the best reptile group to ask these type of questions. Yeah, so I appreciate the Facebook groups from time to time, even though I'm not active. Yeah, and then try it out by setting up a separate tank, doing a quarantine, doing examination of feces, doing all sorts of tests that you can think of to make sure the animals are clean. Then do the right steps to introduce them. And if it doesn't work, you have the separate tank ready to separate the animals and keep everything safe again. Yeah. So it's an investment to do it
Yeah,
the right way.
sure.
I know we're closing up to the end, but Ben, aren't zoos, there's a lot of best practice guides for a lot of species, and you
Mhm.
see a lot of the same cohabitations in a lot of zoos. You
Mhm.
know, especially now Australia is getting more popular again. You see almost all the same combinations. So, as far as I know, a zoo has to almost scientifically prove that a cohabitation doesn't directly or at least negatively impacts the well-being of one or the other species. So I wonder if maybe you can
Mhm.
find it in your mammal group, but maybe from there also other ones. If there are, for instance, for the gondro and the Australian tree frogs, if there's a best practice guide that also says it is possible to keep this animal with this and this animal when these requirements are met. I'm very curious about that, actually.
Yeah, so
Because
these best practice
yeah.
guides, they do exist, but not for all species, obviously. But for the species where they do exist, there's usually also a chapter about a recommendation for cohabitations.
Cool.
A recommendation for cohabitations that usually do work and also ones that should be avoided. And it's usually a part of the best practice guidelines. But the thing is, for most reptile species, I'm not sure if there are so many best practice guidelines out there yet. It's more like for the bigger animals. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I know about it. Gern geschehen. Okay.
Ready. Was a great episode. Let us know. Give us feedback on Instagram. What do you think about cohabitation? Have you ever seen like crazy cohabitation? What's your experience? You can always reach out, and maybe we can also share in another roundtable. Maybe if some info is getting, we can share it. Yeah, Stefan.
Trying to catch a mosquito.
Oh, that.
So
Yeah,
Stefan
but
is not cohabiting well with mosquitoes.
yeah,
That's what I know.
I basically don't kill any animal in this house. You know, if it's a spider or whatever. But somehow the mosquitoes, it's like this.
That's why you need the lugubrious geckos. Come on.
Yeah.
Man, it's
Oh, this
October.
is another
Roaming
great discussion.
everywhere.
Maybe for the next one. I'm sorry, you know, you want to end it, but there's people that have like animals free roaming in their room.
Oh yeah.
Especially
That's
geckos,
also-
I mean.
Yeah, especially geckos. So
Phasuma, for example. Yeah, maybe.
Tokes, if you have a pair and you see them like protecting their baby.
But don't they scream like all night?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
That's true. No, also fucking loud.
Yeah, they go really, but not as loud as like a lot of frogs. Like people who keep
Yeah.
frogs.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
On Lombok in Indonesia, we had one turkey in our room, and it was hiding underneath a picture above the bed, and it screamed in the middle of the night. That was fucking annoying.
Damn. Imagine.
All right.
Alrighty, guys.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Farewell.
Peace out. Thank you for
So it was like a
listening.
2.5 hours episode today.
Yeah.
We love you.
Crazy.
Peace.
Bye-bye,
Should we stop the
Cacao.
recording?
Thank you.
Ciao, Kakao.